Hola, welcome to the Wednesday meeting of the Better Living Group. My name is Akash, and I'm eager to live a better life. Hello. Currently, we are reading from the book named by Atomic Habits by James Clear, and we are on chapter 9, the role of family and friends in shaping their habits. And let's keep the ball rolling. I'm gonna skip the guiding principles. Good preamble. The primary purpose of the Better Living Group is to carry its message to a person who is eager to live a better life. We alter our life with balanced living. There are no dues or fees for the membership. Okay, I'm gonna start reading. The role of family and friends in shaping your habits. In 1965, a Hungarian man, Laszlo Polgar, wrote a series of strange letters to a woman named Clara. Lazar was a firm believer in the hard work. In fact, it was all he believed in. He completely rejected the idea of innate talent. He claimed that with deliberate practice and the development of good habits, a child could become a genius in any field. His mantra was, "A genius is not born, however, is educated and trained." Laszlo believed in this idea so strongly that he wanted to test it with his own children. And he was writing to Clara because he needed a wife willing to jump on board. Clara was a teacher, and although she may not have been as adamant as Laszlo, she also believed that with the proper instruction, anyone could advance their skills. Laszlo decided chess would be a suitable field of experiment, and he laid out a plan to raise his children to become chess prodigies. The kids would become homeschooled, a rarity in Hungary at that time. The house would be filled with chess books and the pictures of the famous chess player. The children would play against each other constantly and compete in the best tournaments they could find. The family would keep a meticulous system of the tournament history of every competitor the children faced. Their lives would be dedicated to chess. Leslie successfully courted Clara, and within few years, the Polgar were the parents of three young girls, Suzanne, Sophia, and Judith. Suzanne, the oldest, began playing chess when she was 4 years old. Within 6 months, she was defeating adults. Sophia, the middle child, did even better. By 14, she was a world champion, and a few years later, she was a grandmaster. Judith, the youngest, was the best of all. By age 5, she could beat her father. At 12, she was the youngest player ever listed among the top 100 chess players in the world. At 15 years and 4 months old, she became the youngest grandmaster of all time, younger than Bobby Fischer, the previous record holder. For 27 years, she was the number one female chess player in the world. The childhood of the Polgar sisters was atypical, to say the least. And yet, when you ask them about it, they claim their lifestyle was attractive, even enjoyable. In interviews, the sisters talk about their childhood as entertaining rather than grueling. They loved playing chess, they couldn't get enough of it. Once, Laszlo reportedly found Sofia playing chess in the bathroom in the middle of the night. Encouraging her to go back to sleep, he said, "Sophia, leave the pieces alone." To which she replied, "Daddy, they don't leave me alone." The Polgar sisters grew up in the culture that prioritized chess above all else, praised them for it, rewarded them for it. For an obsession with the chess was normal, and as we were about to see, whatever habits are normal in your culture are among the most attractive behavior you will find. The seductive pull of the social norm. Humans are herd animals. We want to fit in. to bond with others, and to earn the respect and approval of our peers. Such inclinations are essential to our survival. For most of our evolutionary history, our ancestors lived in tribes. Becoming separated from the tribe, or worse, being cast out, was a death sentence. The lone wolf dies, however, the pack survives. Meanwhile, those who collaborated and bonded with others enjoyed increased safety, mating opportunities, and access to resources. As young Charles Darwin noted, in the long history of humankind, those who learn to collaborate and improvise most effectively. As a result, one of the deepest human desires is to belong. And this ancient preference exerts a powerful influence over our modern behavior. Earliest habits, we imitate them. We follow the script handed down by our friends and family, our church or our school, our local community, and society at large. Each of these cultures and groups become its own set of expectations and standards. When of whether to get married, how many children to have, which holiday to celebrate, how much money to spend on your child's birthday party. In many ways, these social rules are the invisible rules of your behavior each day. You're always keeping them in mind, even when they are at the not top of your mind. Often you follow the habits of your culture without thinking, without questioning, and sometimes without remembering. As the French philosopher Michael de Montaigne wrote, the customs and the practices of life in society sweep us along. Most of the time, going along with the group does not feel like a burden. Everyone wants to belong. When you grow up in a family that rewards you for your chess skills, playing chess will seem like a very attractive thing to do. When you work in a job where everyone wears expensive suits, then you will be inclined to splurge on one as well. When all of your friends are sharing an inside joke or using a new phrase, you will want to do it too. So they know that you get it. Behaviors are attractive when they help us fit in. We imitate habits of three groups in particular: the close, the many, and the powerful. Each group offers an opportunity to leverage the second law of behavior change and make habits more attractive. Imitating the proximity has a powerful effect on our behavior of the physical environment, as we discussed in chapter 3. However, it is also true of the social environment. We pick up habits from the people around us. We copy the way our parents handle arguments, the way our peer flirts with one another, the way our coworkers get results. When our friends smoke pot, you give it a try too. When your wife has a habit of double checking that door is locked before going to bed, you pick it up as well. I find that I often imitate the behavior of those around me without realizing it. In conversation, I will automatically assume the body posture of the other person. In college, I began to talk like my roommates. When traveling to other countries, I unconsciously imitate the local accent despite reminding myself to stop. As a the closer we are to someone, the more likely we are to imitate some of their habits. One groundbreaking study tracked 12,000 people for 32 years and found that a person's chance of becoming obese increased by 57% when he or she had a friend who became obese. It works others way too. Another study found that when one person in a relationship lost weight, the other partner would also slim down about one third of the time. Our friends and family provide a short with no peer in the direction. Peer on the bad influence. When astronaut Mike Massimino was a graduate student at MIT, he took small robotic class. Of the 10 people in the class, 4 became astronauts. When your goal was to make it into space, then that room was about the best culture you could ask for. Similarly, one study found that the higher your best friend's IQ at age 11 or 12, the higher your age IQ would be at age 50, even after controlling for natural levels of intelligence. We soak up the qualities and practices of those around us. One of the most effective things you can do to build a better habit is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. New habits seems achievable when you see others doing them every day. When you're surrounded by the fit people, you're more likely to consider working out to be a common habit. When you are surrounded by the jazz lovers, you're more likely to believe it's reasonable to play jazz every day. Your culture sets your expectation for what is normal. Surround yourself with the people who have the habits you want yourself. You will get active. You can take this strategy once. Join a culture where your desired behavior is normal. You already have something in common with the group. Steve Camp, an entrepreneur in New York City, runs a company called Nerd Fitness, which helps nerd misfits and mutants lose weight, get strong, and get healthy. His clients include video game lovers, movie fanatics, and joys who want to get in shape. Many people feel out of place the first time they go to the gym or try to change their diet. However, when you are already similar to the other members of a group in some way, your mutual love of Star Wars change become more appealing because it feels like some people like you already do. Nothing sustains the motivation better than belonging to the tribe. It transforms a personal quest into a shared one. Previously, you were on your own. Your identity was singular. You are a reader, you are a musician, you are an athlete. When you join a book club or a band or a second group, your identity becomes linked to those around you. Growth and change is no longer an individual pursuit. We are readers, we are musicians, we are cyclists. The shared identity begins to reinforce your personal identity. This is why remaining part of your group after achieving a goal is crucial to maintaining your habits. It's friendship and community that embed a new identity and help behavior last over the long run. Imitating the mummy. In the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch conducted a series of experiments that are now taught to the legions of undergrads each year. To begin each experiment, the subject entered the room with a group of strangers. Unbeknownst to them, the other participants were the actors, planted by the researcher, and instructed to deliver scripted answers to the certain questions. The group would be shown one card with a line on it, and then a second card with a series of lines. Each person was asked to select the line on the second card that was similar to the length line of the first card. It was a very simple task. Here is the example of two cards used in the experiment. Of two cards used by Solomon Asch. In in these famous social conformity experiments. The length of line on the first part is obviously the same as the line in C. However, when a group of actors claimed it was different length, the research subjects would often change their minds and go with the crowds rather than believe their own eyes. The experiment always began the same. First, there would be some easy trials, which everyone agreed on the correct line. After a few rounds, the participants were shown a test that was just as obvious as the previous ones, except actors in the room would select an everyone would agree that lines were the same even though they were clearly different. The subject was unaware of the rules, would immediately become bewildered. Their eyes would wide open and they would lie nervously to themselves. They would double check the reactions of the other participants. Their agitation would grow as one person after another delivered the same incorrect response. Soon the subject began to doubt their own eyes. Eventually, they delivered the answer they knew in their heart to be incorrect. Ash ran this experiment many times in many different ways. What we discovered was that as a number of factors increased, so did the conformity of the subject. When it was just the subject and one actor, then there was no effect on the person's choice. They just assumed they were in the room with the dummy. When two actors were in the room with the subject, there was still little impact. However, as the number of people increased to 3, 4, all the way to 8, the subject became more likely to second guess themselves. By the end of the experiment, nearly 75% of the subject had agreed with the group answer, even though it was obviously incorrect. Whenever we are unsure how to act, we look to the group to guide our behavior. We are constantly scanning our environment and wondering, what is everyone else doing? We check reviews on the Amazon or Yelp or TripAdvisor because we want to imitate the best. Buying, eating, and travel habits. It's usually a smart strategy. There is an evidence in numbers. However, there can be downside. The normal behavior of the tribe often overpower the desired behavior of the individual. For example, one study found that when a chimpanzee learned an effective way to crack nuts open as a member of one group, then switches to a new group that uses a less effective strategy, it will avoid using the superior nut cracking method just to blend in the rest of the chimps. Humans are similar. There is tremendous internal pressure to comply with the norms of the group. The rewards of being accepted is often greater than the rewards of winning an argument, looking smart, or finding truth. Most days would rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. The human mind knows how to get along with others. It wants to get along with others. This is a natural mode. You can override it. You can choose to ignore the group or stop caring what other people think. However, it takes work. Running against the grain of your culture requires extra efforts. When changing your habits means challenging the tribe, change is unattractive. When changing your habits means fitting in with the tribe, change is very attractive. Imitating the powerful. Humans pursue power, prestige, and status. Ribbons and medallions on our jackets. We want presidents or partners in our titles. We want to be acknowledged, recognized, and praised. This tendency can seem vain, however, overall it's a smart move. Historically, a person with a great power and status has access to more resources, whereas less about survival and proves to be more attractive mate. We are drawn to behaviors that earn us respect, approval, admiration, and status. We want to be the one in the gym who can do muscles up, or the musician who can play the hardest chord progression, or the parent with the most accomplished children, because they separate us from the crowd. Once we fit in, we start looking for ways to stand out. This is one reason we care so much about the habits of highly effective people. We try to copy the behavior of the successful people because we desire success ourselves. Many of our daily habits are ill imitations of the people we admire. You replicate the marketing strategies of the most successful firms in the industry. You make recipe from your favorite baker. You borrow the storytelling strategies from your favorite writer. You make the communication style of your boss. We imitate people we envy. High status people enjoy the approval, respect, and praise of others. And that means when a behavior can get us approval, respect, and praise, we find it attractive. We are also motivated to avoid behaviors that would lower our status. We trim our hedges and mow our lawns because we don't want to be the slob of the neighborhood. Whenever a brother comes to visit, we clean up the house because we don't want to be judged. We are continually wondering, what will others think of me? And altering our behaviors based on the answer. The Polgar sisters, the chess prodigies mentioned at the beginning of this chapter, are the evidence of the powerful and the lasting impact social influences can have on our behavior. These sisters practiced chess for many hours each day and continued this remarkable effort for decades. However, these habits and behaviors maintained their attractiveness and were valued by their culture. From the praise of the parents markers like becoming a grandmaster, they had many reasons to continue their effort. Chapter summary. The culture we live in determines which behaviors are attractive to us. We tend to adopt habits that are praised and approved by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to the tribe. We tend to imitate the habit of three social groups: the close, the many, and the powerful. One of the most effective way you can do to build a better habit is to join a culture where your desired behavior is normal behavior and you already have something common in with this group. The normal behavior of the tribe often overpowers the desired behavior of the individual. Participate on 800. We also have calendar invite so that you don't miss it. And like always, let's conclude with the favorite prayers of our fellowship. And it goes like this: Father, Father, today I move forward to thee, and today they can throw me to the ashes. There is they can throw me to the fire, and I'll rise from the ashes. Today I move forward to thee. They can throw me to the sea and come back riding the sharks. Today I move forward to thee. They can throw me to the wolves and come back riding the pack. Today I move forward to thee. Thank you, Holy Father.